My name is BJ Hensel. I am the assistant principal for what will be the class of 2026. It's kind of strange to say that, as I feel like my job of being the assistant principal for the class of 2022 is not yet finished, but it's exciting to think about, as we all get a chance in our lives, to think about a new, fresh start, right? So the students, one of the things I'm going to cover here is the house system, and one of the great things about the structure of Upper Darby High School is that we start with a team in our freshman year, and we continue with those students until they graduate as seniors. So right now, you know, the team that's here with me from the class of 2022, most of us have started with these students back when they were freshmen. We've had some new faces and some additional help that's come through as, you know, adults change their lives and where they work and be employed, but it's one of the best parts of our school, the way that the house system works and continues with our students. Leading me into the house system, where essentially the supports for an individual grade are all located in the same group of offices. So when you come to our center, it's down on the first floor, and when you guys take your tour, hopefully we can swing you past, or we'll at least swing you past one of the centers, possibly the freshman center because it's the closest one. It's literally, when you go out to the main office, it's right down the hall and on your right. And when you look at that center, what we have there is we have all of these supports in one place. So my office as the assistant principal is there. The secretary, Ms. Key, our administrative assistant, her desk is right in the middle of it. So if you came to pick up your student, or your student came down to have an early dismissal, you know, they would come right down, and Ms. Key is right in the center of it all. We have our lead teacher who's there, and that role handles a lot of attendance, discipline, and pretty much really just developing relationships with the kids. Our social worker, you know, is there for additional support for students that need it. And then we have the 3 school counselors. So our counselors are split up by alphabet. It depends on how many students and of what portion of the alphabet. Right now we're A through G, H through O, P through Z, which is pretty standard. But obviously if you get a flush of students as part of one cohort of the grade, then you might have to adjust that a little bit. And then we also have our activity coordinator in the same office. So I'm going to attempt to facilitate introducing the members of the team with this mic at the moment. So again, my name is BJ Hensel. I go by BJ William Hensel. I'm a junior, so I got the nickname from my mom, and I'm the assistant principal.
Hi, I'm Miss Morris. I will hopefully have students' last names A through G. That's what I have currently.
Hello, I'm Mr. Haynes. As Mr. Haynes said, I currently have H through O students.
Hi, I'm Miss Dawson, and I have the end of the alphabet, 3P through Z.
That was the way to do it. Miss Davis couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. She's our social worker, and we'll try and throw a picture up on the video so that you guys can all see her. All of our pictures are part of our website for each center in the building, where all of our information is, and you can find us on there. This is Mr. Peterkin, our lead teacher. Say hello, sir.
Good evening, everyone. As Mr. Hensel said, lead teacher, so I handle a lot of the attendance and discipline, but I really, as he also said, I do enjoy getting to make relationships with our students and really be another, just another support that they can rely on if they have any questions.
This is Ms. Key, our administrative assistant. Maybe if you guys clap a lot, maybe she'll sing something. Go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm excited to have you guys on board. I'm the go-to person when you call the office. I'm the center. I'm the one you will talk to all the time. So welcome, and I'm excited to see you guys next year.
And just for historical context, Ms. Key's the one I've known the longest because she was in my homeroom as a senior here as a student. And lastly, Ms. Sakers, who is our activities director.
Hi, I get to do all the fun stuff. So like the dances, homecoming, pep rally, that's me. Really encourage everybody here and your friends to get involved. I kind of run the student government group.
One of the things, you know, Ms. Sakers just hit on it. To spend 4 years with the same group of kids, the message starts right at the beginning. We all know how fast time can go when you're keeping your head down, you're working hard, and we're going through things. My point in saying that is that 4 years goes very fast. And the number of opportunities that exist in this building are crazy. There's so many things that you can involve yourself in. And I frequently try to talk to the students about my personal biggest regret leaving high school was that, we had a radio station. I never participated in that. Here we have a TV class that kids can make their own videos and do stuff in. We have all the athletic programs that you can imagine. They're on our website. We have just under 50 clubs that are running right now. Students, if they want to create their own club, there's a process for that. They find a teacher leader, and then they fill out the application to the building principal to have a club accepted. We've had a number of clubs started over the years. You guys probably already know about our music program, our arts program. Arts Fest is coming up. Come visit that. And the events that, Ms. Sakers is talking about that we put on just this year with our pep rally, homecoming. We just recently had Top Royal, where students were performing on the stage doing formal wear. We have our talent show that's coming up. There's usually a dance for each grade within that year, and then there's an additional dance that we usually combine with some of the classes to have. So there's lots that's going on and lots to participate in, and one of the biggest things that I hope and wish for all of our students is that they get to participate and join all of the things, that they don't leave Upper Darby at the end of 4 years regretting, like I did, that they didn't go try to do that one thing or participate in that one thing. And maybe, when it comes to athletics, you might not be the best athlete in the world, but there's a place for you. There are students that help out with those teams and are part of the support system. So, start thinking about where you want to get involved, where you want to make your mark here at Upper Darby as part of the class of 2026. This is our schedule. We changed our schedule last year, and there's a number of changes to go over, but I think one of the biggest things that has been the case in this building for the last many years is that we go to block scheduling. So students will take in one semester a group of courses, and then in most cases it will switch to a different group of courses in the second semester. This information is online, and I probably didn't say already, I will be sharing this presentation. There's some other links that are in it when we get to Act 158, and I'm going to bolster it up, I think, with some other places to go and look. But one of the things that we're doing with our schedule this year is, in accordance with information we've gotten from a sleep study and the age of students that we serve, in the morning you have what we call extensions. So there's going to be an opportunity for students to meet with their teachers virtually in the mornings. All of their teachers will have slots that they can meet with them. And then there's also an opportunity from basically the end of your class until the beginning of your next class to complete certain assignments that you need to prepare for that class. There is the transition time you'll see in there for 51 minutes. That gives the students the opportunity to go from being That gives the students, maybe you're meeting with your algebra teacher and you got to get to school. We got to come and pick you up if you're bused, or you got to walk up here. So that ends at that time, and you have the 51 minutes to transition to being here in person. In terms of our blocks, it's synchronous or in person. Some students are still choosing, coming off of COVID at different times to operate virtually. And those students can continue to log into Google Meets, or you can be in person during this time. But if you're synchronous or in person, you do have to report to these courses, and attendance is taken, and you have to participate in class. So each of our blocks are 60 minutes, and we do have a flex period where students are served lunch, and we're also doing social emotional learning. We're doing counselor lessons during that time. We're addressing some of the other things that we need to do in the high school in terms of procedural things. How you're expected to act in a hallway, how we're going to get to class, sharing information about, particular opportunities that are going on.
Thank you. All right, so Mr. Hensel kind of went over all the different things we offer here at the high school. So obviously, your high school is what you make of it, the choices that you make, the things you want to get involved in, the academic choices that you make. This is your time to explore and try things out and see what you like and kind of prepare you for whatever you want to do after you leave here. So try things out. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to get to graduation. It's 4 years. It's a while away. But in order to graduate here at Upper Darby, you need to meet 21 credits. So now students have the option to take their diploma after they reach 21 credits. But depending on, what you want to do when you leave here, what your actual goals are, we have some flexibility in that, and you have lots of choices in what you want to do next. So within those 21 credits, there's subject requirements. So for each, like English, social studies, math, science, health and physical education, arts and humanities, and electives, you have to take a certain amount of those courses while you're here at Upper Darby, and that's all included and adds up to 21.
So there are a few different pathways that you can choose while you're here at the high school. So you will earn your 21 credits by the end of your junior year. So at the end of junior year, you can choose to take your diploma and graduate a year early. That will start you off to maybe start college early. Maybe you want to go to the military, you want to start work. You could also choose to attend our Delaware County Technical School. There is on your tour, there is a table out in the main hallway. This is where you would go and get technical education, so think automotive, there's biomedical, dental hygienist. That program will allow you to earn a certificate, and I believe we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. And then cosmetology, that starts a little bit early in 10th grade. So that would mean that you would stay here for the full 4 years of in the high school. You could choose to stay for the full 4 years. And instead of coming into the building senior year, you could go to DCCC and take dual enrollment classes. So that's where you take classes at a discount. They're typically, I think, hovering right around the 180 mark. So you would take a couple classes in college, and you could earn credit for high school if it's needed, and also earn college credit at a discounted cost. You could also stay for senior year and take classes in the building if you choose, if there's something you didn't really get that you wanted to take at some point during your 4 years here. And then junior and senior year, you could actually do a combination. You could do some dual enrollment. You could have an early dismissal, a late in. So there's kind of some options, but start thinking about kind of what your path is. So in freshman year, we'll talk more extensively on the pathways. You'll make a preliminary commitment. Parents will also agree to that. 10th grade, you will talk a little bit more about it, make a solid commitment. Junior year, we'll confirm, complete any paperwork that's needed. And then when you get to senior year, we're going to go ahead and implement whatever that plan that you have. All right, fun stuff. Career education and works standards. So PA Future Index, Pennsylvania a few years ago decided that they were going to travel across the state, talk to employers, educators, and advocates to see what is needed to make sure that students are ready for the future. And so they wanted to look at a more holistic view. They wanted it to be more than just test scores. And so you're going to hear a little bit more later about some of the components that fall under the PA Future Ready Index. One of them is our Act 158. Also in there is college and career preparation. So you will have activities, class guidance lessons. There'll be a college and career fair. So we'll be preparing you for your path, whether that's for you to go to work directly out of high school or to continue your education in either a college or a technical program. How many students here know what artifacts are? Really? Are you just a little shy? I got one, maybe a few over here. So you should have been doing artifacts throughout your middle school. That's where you're going to do a lesson, and then Tied to the lesson is a survey for us to say that you have done an activity that promotes college and career awareness and also to help build those skills for you to be PA future ready. And then work-based learning is either you'll have to earn an industry credential, which is something like CPR, first aid, or something else that we have kind of put in place for our students. The CTE program, again, that's DCTS. And then the third way that you can do work-based learning is through an internship or job shadowing or even doing community service. So just think about these because this is part of graduation. So not only is it 21 credits, but it is also these career education and work standards. And I'm going to turn over to Mr. Haynes.
All right, how are you? Good evening. So as was touched on earlier, CTE, our Career and Technical Education, students who wish to participate in this will apply to Delaware County Technical Schools. Now we have the cosmetology program, which if you're interested in that, you will apply during the winter or spring of your freshman year because our Cosmo program is a 3-year program, which is actually done here at the high school. So you do not need to go to a DCTS location. You will do that here at the high school. 3-year program, complete all your hours, and come out with a certification. For all our other programs at DCTS, you will apply, same thing, application through DCTS, but you'll do that during the winter or spring of your sophomore year because the rest of the programs are 2-year programs. Now, during these programs, you will go to your program either in the morning or in the afternoon while doing classes here at the high school on the other time that you're not here. So you will work with your counselor to get through your application process. In the application process, we look at grades, attendance, discipline. These are all things that are looked at through this application process. And now Delaware County Community College. It was touched on earlier about the dual enrollment opportunities here at the high school. So as you're going through and you're completing your grad requirements and you want to take advantage of dual enrollment, you will go through an application process with Delaware County. You will take an AccuPlacer, which is basically a placement test, reading, math, or you can submit SAT, PSAT scores as well, qualifying scores if they qualify. So important to note, part of your dual enrollment, it does go on your high school transcript and on your college transcript, unless you choose for it not to go on your high school transcript. And that's something you can talk more about with your counselor when that comes. There is a cost associated with it, but it is a reduced cost. So it is a majorly reduced cost as opposed to the normal cost of a class at Delaware County. You can have the ability to actually complete a full year of classes, college courses. So that will give you an advantage when going into post-secondary that you already have a year under your belt at a reduced rate. So that will be extremely helpful as well. It helps to teach independence and work on that through that college experience. And at this time, I'm going to turn it back to Mr. Hensel.
Thank you, Mr. Haynes. One of the things that Ms. Morris, I believe, touched on was sort of the evaluation from the state of Pennsylvania about preparing students to not just be ready to go to college, but being career ready and making sure that we're preparing students for a host of options. One of the things that was instituted is called Act 158. So she had mentioned earlier that there's a requirement in regards to 21 credits. In fact, I think Ms. Dawson covered the 21 credits. Those are courses that you will need to take in the building. An additional requirement for your graduation to be able to graduate from high school from the state of Pennsylvania is that you meet one of these pathways. The first pathway is Keystone Proficiency. So this would be that you received a proficient score in each of the 3 Keystone exam areas. There is a composite score where if maybe you fell short in one of those tests, but overall you add the scores up and it meets a certain standard, that then you've met the requirement of Act 158. And then for the other ones, essentially in all of these, you have to pass your Keystone required course. You have to prove that you understand the components of that class, which you need to pass anyway as part of the 21 credits. But then there are additional pathways here. So for example, career and technical education. There's an end and an or. I'm not going to get into all of the parts of this, but just painting with a broad stroke. If you're going into career and technical education and you pass your NOCTI and you pass some industry-based credentials, then that can apply. Alternative assessment. Maybe you didn't do well on your Keystone exams. And by the way, this is a good reason that if you didn't do well on a Keystone exam, when we offer you the opportunity to take it again, to come back and continue to work to increase that score. But there are other alternative assessments that qualify here that have certain number thresholds in terms of you've met this standard on this assessment. ASVAB is an example, ACT, PSAT, and there are a host of others that are in there. Again, you also need to pass all those Keystone courses, and then the evidence-based pathway gets a little bit more complicated, but basically we have created a way that if students pass their Keystone classes, right, you got a grade in that class to pass that course, and you struggle with the test-taking element of that, there are other pieces of evidence that we are going to do, and we have a program that we've built to be able to meet this pathway, the evidence-based pathway. And we'll be talking about this with our students as they come in, and basically as soon as they come in, and even now probably in middle school, working on these artifacts, working to get these expectations met so that when we get to the end and graduation day is approaching, all of this stuff is already taken care of. So, a quick recap, and again, I'm gonna share this slideshow with all of you. You know, we hit on the house system. We talked about block scheduling a little bit and what our schedule looks like. The graduation requirements were covered. The multiple pathways that we have to complete high school, and then there are different pathways to achieve the Act 158 as well. You got to be PA future ready, right? We're looking at the whole student. It's a more holistic look at the future of the student. That's in addition to 21 credits. The class of 2024 counselors will be providing guidance sessions throughout the 4 years. We're constantly looking at what do the kids need now, what information do we need to get in front of them, and planning lessons and sharing information. The artifacts that need to be completed, at least 2 per year. Work-based learning, which is volunteer job shadowing. And then we have, as was said, another opportunity that we have through some different modules for students to meet that expectation as well. And then I will tell you, I'm a huge proponent of career and technical education. There's a lot of opportunities that are at Delaware County Technical Schools. We are looking to open new opportunities at Delaware County Community College for some of the programming that's there as well through dual enrollment opportunities. But certainly there is a place in this world for everybody, and college doesn't have to be your path to success for you or your child. There are plenty of opportunities out in the world of trades and in technical education for them to find their niche. And dual enrollment is also a great opportunity, obviously, to accumulate college credits, college experience, you know, to sort of be in high school and continue to get high school credits, but be accumulating those college credits as well. So we have a Q&A set up for the QR code. So if you take a picture of this, it'll take you to a link where you can enter your question. The idea will be that the team will sit down, will basically, take a look at compiling the questions and answers and put out a frequently asked questions doc that will go out with this video. So you guys will be getting that as well. We'll put that through the principals at the middle schools and share that out with you guys. At this time, we're going to move on to our Naviance portion, because Naviance is a very, very important tool for you and your child in terms of moving forward. Every application that we do for college, trade school, we are going through Naviance. Every letter of recommendation that gets written for your child to move on to the next step, no matter what it is, There are so many resources in Naviance that you guys should hopefully be working with already at the middle school level, so that that can help you identify what is my career path, what is a place of interest. There's career interest surveys. There's all kinds of things in there that if you're sitting here as an 8th grade student right now saying, I'm not really sure what it is that I want to do as my next step after these 4 years of high school, again, they're going to go fast, that you can go on there and you can do different things and not only prepare for that, but maybe find out some things about yourself that you hadn't realized or reflected upon until you do some of the activities that are there, and we're going to be working on that. So at this point, I'm going to hand it off to Ms. Elgert, and we're going to get started on the Naviance presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse my voice today. As Mr. Hensel had said, one of the things that students do to collect artifacts, and I know all the students in here know what they are, is using this tool called Naviance. So Naviance does a lot of great things for us. It's our college exploration tool, career exploration tool. It helps us to collect artifacts. And it also has, is this still working? It also has a parent piece to it, and that's the part that we want to go over tonight. So we have an expert from Naviance, from the national corporation, who's going to go over just the general basics of Naviance. And afterwards, she will have time for questions and answers. We're also going to email this presentation to you because it teaches you how to log in. And your counselors, your students' current counselors at school are really the experts in Naviance. So if you ever have any questions about that, just reach out to any of them and they'll be happy to help you.
My name is Kayla Tucker, and I am the application specialist working with Upper Darby with Naviance with PowerSchool. It is a wonderful time to be here with you guys tonight, so we'll go ahead and we'll get started. So today I'm going to run through Naviance, which is your students' college and career and life readiness exploration portal. And you should have received some registration codes to your email yesterday. I went ahead and sent those out to you. And when you log in to Naviance for the first time, what it's going to look like is here in the middle. You will have to input your registration code here, which some of you already may have done, and hit register. You'll then be able to create your account and sign in to Naviance. Your students sign into a portal that looks like this. They probably are already using Naviance. They use their emails and passwords to log in. They will log in to something that looks like this. You will log into the parent and guardian portal. And again, you'll use that registration code. This will populate and you'll be able to log in using your email and password going forward after you use that registration code to log in for the first time. I'm going to show you a quick PowerPoint that has an overview of everything Naviance. I'm going to run through it as quickly as I possibly can. I know I only have a half hour. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A, or if you're live in person, feel free to hold them till the very end. And Wendy can go ahead and relay the questions to me, or you can relay any questions that you have to your student's counselor at the school. So this is what your student's Naviance student portal looks like. It is very, very similar, almost identical to what the parent portal looks like. Basically, your student can do all of these different things here in Naviance. You can see I have some little blue arrows up here kind of showing you where the different options are as far as what they can do. Naviance is really an all-encompassing college, career, and life readiness portal. Students can take self-assessment discoveries here. They can explore careers in the careers tab. They can explore colleges in the college tab. They can look at their planner, their success planner, which will have important tasks and to-dos that their counselor or the district has assigned them. And then once they're doing that college and career exploration, there are these different favorite lists here. When students favorite a different career, it goes to the careers and clusters I'm thinking about favorites list. When a student favorites a college, it goes to the colleges I'm thinking about list. And then later on down the line, when students do decide I want to apply to a certain college, they can click a button that will actually translate that college from the colleges I'm thinking about list to the colleges I'm applying to list. I think it's important to know that in 8th grade, just to kind of ready yourself for that. when it comes, but know that right now this really won't be applicable to 8th graders or 9th graders. It's going to be more moving into 10th, 11th, and 12th grade that this list will be applicable. Then you'll see some more important information here. Important information for your student. This is where it's called a welcome message, but essentially your student's counselor or school will go ahead and write any important or pertinent information here in this little white box, and you can click read more to read more. Up here in the top right-hand corner, you'll see this About Me drop-down box. In here, we have options to go to a resume builder, surveys that your school may assign your student, and even more. So this is a cool little thing to make sure that you browse as well. Scrolling down the page, you'll see your students' important to-dos and tasks. If your student clicks this See All in My Planner button, they'll be able to see every single to-do and task that they have been assigned at the school or district level, and they'll be able to click those and complete them via this list. If your student's school or counselor has any important upcoming events or information, they can post a announcement here, and it will pop up in the What's New section right here down at the very bottom. Scrolling even further down, you'll be able to see documented resources. If there are any resources that your school wants you to have access to, those will be accessible here. Any links that your school can put in, these are custom links from your school. They are not from Naviance itself, but actually from your school. These will all be down here at the bottom. Custom pages that your school has made for your students to be able to access. And again, any updates that your student needs to be able to look at really quickly, your school needs to get out really quickly, will be down here available at the very bottom as well. So let's say we scroll back up to the top of the page, we're at the top menu bar, and we're interested in the self-discovery portion. If you hover over the self-discovery bar at the top of the page, the different assessments or self-discovery assessments are going to open up in this window. We have a bunch of different assessments. You can see a snapshot here of the 4 ones that are at the very top. The intelligences one is the assessment that tells you your different intelligences, how you can use them. It also compares you to a couple celebrities that have the same intelligences as you. So the students really like that one to see which celebrity they kind of are, their personalities and their intelligences are like. The Achieve Works Learning and Productivity, you can discover your sensory and environmental and mindset preferences. This is a good one for the students to take to learn how they study best, what their best environment is for taking in information. There's a personality quiz. Here's a career cluster finder where it will help you identify some interests, and you can actually identify career clusters that may work best with your personality. And you can go through those different clusters and see what are the different careers included in those different clusters that could be potentially a match for me and my personality. We also have the Strengths Explorer. I do want to point out that the Strengths Explorer can only be taken one time. So make sure if this is assigned to your student that they can only do it one time. So make sure they sit down and they do it completely that one time. So that way they get those results and they can use those moving forward. In the careers tab, students can favorite those careers and those clusters. Down here, you see a snapshot of a couple of different careers that we have in Naviance. We have accountants and auditors, actors, actuaries, acupuncturists. I think in the letter A, we have 50, and that's just for the letter A. So there are a multitude of different careers listed in Naviance that your students can go ahead and explore. Again, when they click on the heart on these different careers, they will add it to their careers and clusters list, and they'll be able to click this list and go back and reference. Let's say they add actor to that list. Actor will always be in that careers and clusters list until they decide to remove it. We also have the Road Trip Nation videos accessible here in the careers tab. A bunch of students, after they graduated from high school, all got in a van and they decided to travel all over the United States and interview a bunch of different leaders in their field. Directors, doctors, actors, you name it. They pretty much interviewed everybody. And they asked them a host of different questions about emotions and their jobs and what led them to their jobs, how did they grow up. All of those videos are accessible in the Road Trip Nation video archive. They're accessible through different themes as well. So your students can really go in and explore different parts of the job search and the different things that go into that as far as how you grew up or how these certain professionals grew up and how they got to where they were today. So I highly recommend having your students log in, check out the Road Trip Nation videos. They're categorized by theme and then by person. There's a bunch of different awesome videos in there for your students to really kick off their career search. And then finally, we have our college search. The college Supermatch tool is one of my favorite tools in Naviance. You can customize a college search just for your student. Obviously, as an 8th grader, the students may not know what kind of school they want to go to. Do they want a big school? Do they want a small school? Do they want a city? Do they want a rural area? This is the best time to start exploring those options, because the longer your students have to explore those options, the better fit they are going to find for college for themselves. Using the Supermatch search, you can select different criteria based on location, academics, admission, student life, diversity, institution characteristics, cost, athletics, resources, groups. And when you click on these individually in the actual website, a multitude of options open up. For academics, they have majors of every college that we have listed here in Naviance. So your student can select that they want to only look at schools that have dentistry, let's say, just for kicks. Dentistry. You can hit dentistry. All of those schools are going to populate here. And it's actually going to bring up a percentage and let you know, hey, this school matches your certain criteria to 100%. This looks like a school that might be good for you. Your students can then add them to their colleges I'm thinking about list. And then at some point down the line, once they have researched and decided this is a college I want to apply to, they can transfer that from the colleges I'm thinking about to the colleges I'm applying to list. This tab I want to highlight just because it's here. This is where your student will do all of their college application tracking when they get into 11th and 12th, sometimes 10th, but typically 11th and 12th grade. They'll be able to manage their transcripts, letters of recommendations, test scores, and really see all of those colleges that they're applying to. This isn't super prevalent for current 8th graders and 9th graders, but it is important to know that it's there. So that way down the line, your students will be able to know where that is accessible. And this is what the colleges I'm applying to list looks like. I am in San Diego, California. As you can tell, I have all of my California colleges here, but UC Davis, UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara. This is what a colleges I'm applying to list looks like, rather than just a colleges I am interested in list, which would just be red hearts over here. Finally, we have our scholarship search. It is awesome to start getting comfortable with the scholarship search now, because when your students do get into college, they are going to want to use this tool. They can search for national scholarships through Sallie Mae. They actually compile that national scholarship list, and we just contract them out to have it on our website. So it is uploaded by them. They are all current scholarships, and students are able to browse through that. They can do similar to the Supermatch, put in different criteria so that the scholarships that are populating are the ones that work for them. You also can have your counselors upload local scholarships as well. So if your student knows about any scholarships, if they're applying to any scholarships that are local to your community, let your counselor know, because they can upload that to the local scholarship dashboard for your school, and other students would be able to see that and also apply for that scholarship based off of the scholarship search. And then again, you can favorite those scholarships, add them to your scholarship list, so that way you're always able to reference those scholarships. In the planner tab, that is what we call our success planner. This is going to be where your counselors assign students videos to watch, surveys to take, essentially college, career, and life readiness homework. And I say homework in parentheses, but this is where the tasks are that your counselors or district or school believe are super important for your student to complete in order to get them on a successful road to college, career, and life. And these are accessible here in the planner tab. You can go ahead and hit the tasks and hit tasks assigned to me. And that's going to populate a list of all of the tasks that your student has to complete in order to be done with their CCLR or college, career, and life readiness curriculum for the year. And this is kind of what that looks like. You can see here in my little fake school, I had an overdue task. It lets me know right away, my task is overdue. I really need to complete this. And these are the tasks that I've completed. I've applied for some scholarships. I've met with some counselors about my college apps, and I have done those steps. Those are completed. This is the one that I have to do that's overdue. And then the tasks I need to work on are going to be the ones that are coming up, that are kind of need to be on the radar, that aren't due yet, but need to be on the radar. And then finally, I talked a little bit about that About Me tab in the beginning. This is the resume, the goals, the surveys I was talking about earlier. The surveys, game plan and graduation are typically game plans for ninth grader. Typically, sometimes they use it every year. Graduation survey is for seniors, but you will know based off of your students' Naviance portal and the tasks assigned to you, which of these surveys you need to complete. It will have a link for you right there. So these are really just here so that way you know where they are. You don't have to worry about them thinking, oh, I need to complete them. If you have to do it, your school will let you know via a task in your planner.